We would like to take the agriculture update, and then we'll be inviting Farid over for a quick conversation.
Not just a station, but a voice profound. Echoes of legacy, the world around. Where tradition meets the future ahead. Travels the song, and it's never dead. Travel radio, it's more than just
East Bale Zone in Ethiopia has successfully cultivated over 42,000 hectares of wheat using summer irrigation this year, marking a significant leap toward the country's goal of wheat self-sufficiency and expanded exports. Deputy Head Mohammed Ismail highlighted the shift from rain-fed to irrigation-based farming, which has enabled the zone to extend its growing season and overcome water scarcity challenges. With irrigation methods, including pumps and traditional water management, the zone achieved an average yield of 35 quintals per hectare. This development plays a crucial role in supporting Ethiopia's wheat export ambitions, with plans to further scale production to 300,000 hectares annually across various seasons. A family of Okegba Village, Orire, local government of Oyo State, is seeking justice after suspected herders invaded and vandalized their cashew farm on April 11, destroying several fruit-bearing trees that served as their main source of livelihood. The farm's owner's son, Abdullah Gafar Amu, described the unprovoked attack as deliberate and devastating, leading to a significant financial loss and emotional trauma. Despite photographic evidence of the destruction, no arrests have been made, and the family accuses local police of complicity. They are now calling on human rights lawyers and the Legal Aid Council for intervention amid rising tensions between herders and farmers in the region. Hundreds of dairy farmers in Lancashire have been forced to dump fresh milk into slurry pits after a technical failure halted operations at the Muller-owned U3 dairy in Skelmersdale for over a week. The disruption caused milk collections to grind to a halt, with tankers unable to access the plant, leaving farmers frustrated and financially uncertain. Though the factory is now operational again, many affected farmers are voicing anger over Muller's lack of communication and clarity regarding compensation and future milk pickups. The breakdown has exposed vulnerabilities in the UK's dairy supply chain, sparking calls for better crisis management and farmer support. And lastly, on agriculture update before we join Farid, is hare coursing, an illegal blood sport involving dogs chasing hares for gambling, has caused widespread concern in Cambridgeshire after 25 cars linked to the activity stormed farmland on January 25, 2025, damaging property and disrupting rural life. Over 40 incidents were reported, prompting criticism of police response and raising questions about enforcement. Farmers have expressed fear and frustration over recurring violence, with threats worsening annually. While new legislation introduced in 2022 aimed to curb the crime, local MPs like Richard Fuller argue more investment in surveillance is needed. Cambridgeshire police, having arrested 33 men, pledge ongoing efforts to tackle the crime, which continues to plague communities despite legal bans under 2004 Hunting Act. And that brings us to the end of Agri Update, but we'll be joining Farid for conversation around the Agri Update.
We're bringing you the stories behind the journeys, from cultural explorations to travel hacks, from industry experts to passionate travelers. This is where the world meets to share experiences. Welcome to Leading Travel Conversations, the show that keeps you dreaming, planning, and exploring. Only on Travel Radio. Let's talk travel.
Hi, I'm Moses. Our mission is to encourage, to educate, and to equip travelers. We want everyone to have an enjoyable, cost-effective, and culturally enriching travel experience.
All right, we are waiting to join Farid so that we can have a conversation. Oh, Farid is here. Look at that.
Good morning.
Are you on the farm today?
on our way to the farm. I want to meet up with someone on the other side. I don't know if we can do this, but very quick.
So, Farid, talk to me. I'm sure you follow the Agric update, right?
Yes, I did.
So, the interesting thing is Ethiopia, looking at the first story, Ethiopia, in terms of they have successfully cultivated over 42,000 hectares of wheat using summer irrigation. Yeah? So, which that is helping them to produce more wheat. And that, I think, is a good news considering what wheat is. And I remember you and I have talked about the importance of growing the most essential crops for the need of African consumption and market over the things we really don't need, because it seemed like we want the money, so we go for the things we don't need over the things that we really need in the continent. So what is your take with Ethiopia? And first, let me also say that there have been situations with Ethiopia as to heightened escalating war with Eritrea, which also is resulting to a lot of refugees that cannot be taken care of because they are stopping supplies for these about 650,000 pregnant women. And looking at it in total, 7.2 million Ethiopians of that region, they have food insecurity, and the WFP is looking to raise about $222 million to cater for food security issues in that region. Well, how do you put all of this together to help us make sense of it?
Yeah. I think spoke about it last week concerning we planting what we actually need, not planting stuff we export to the West. And also, this is a lesson to all of us in Africa about planting during all season, about irrigation. I told you that we should not depend on rain. Rain-fed agriculture shows that you are not just ready and serious about agriculture. So what Ethiopia is showing us the way that we could plant all season and plant what we actually need, not just depending on rain, but looking at what will be able to make us plant all season. Because real farming does not depend on just rain. You need to augment other things that will make you farm all year round. So a good one there from Ethiopia, and having that wheat consumption going up, so they need to now increase that production. So we could take a lead from that in Nigeria.
But looking at wheat is a good thing, but then how are they going to still meet up with food shortage in that region, especially talking about the Horn of Africa? Do you think there's going to be any hope in the shortest time?
I actually believe so. The Horn of Africa, they have this issue of droughts. Those have issues of water challenges. And now they're going into this summer irrigation project. I believe that they've learned so many lessons on how to improve on other crops, not just wheat, but other crops and also animals also too.
Interesting. So if we go to Oyo now, looking at the suspected herders invade cashew farm in Oyo, and family cries for justice, and this is a pathetic, traumatic situation of herders again invading a farmland belonging to a family, and then that has cost them a lot of investment. How do we make sense of this with this invasion of herders in farmland causing a lot of unpleasant experience?
So this is a very, very serious situation we found ourselves in. Just last week, we heard of the killings in Plateau and Benue State, and also the poisoning of cows in Plateau State also too. Then this is happening in Oyo. It's so pathetic, and I think we need to call out the authorities and ask them what is happening in these places, not just in the northwest and north central. It's now down there into the south. They've destroyed people's farm, and this is not just destroying farm. It's not just about food loss. It's about injustice in the system. And these farmers said they've reported to the police and other authorities, but no arrest has been made. So you can imagine these people now taking law into their hands. So I think we need to call out the authorities and speak more to the Minister of Livestock, because President Bola Tinubu inaugurated a new ministry apart from the Ministry of Agriculture. He brought out the Livestock Ministry, and these are part of the issues the ministry is meant to solve. So if this is still now happening, we need to speak with them and ask them what is that template to solve this crisis. because without these crises being solved, there will be issue with our food systems in Nigeria. It's so pathetic, loss of lives, loss of animals, loss of investments. And there are no winners at this end. Everybody is always a loser, both the farmers and the herders and the people and the government themselves. So I think we should all, Travel Radio and all of us should, speak out on this and see how we could solve this issue. It's so pathetic. It's becoming something that happens every day now. Years back also on my farm in Ogun State about 10, 11 years ago, I had the same issue of cattle coming into my farm and destroyed my farm. And then it was just 5 acres of maize. What I was able to harvest in the farm was not up to 1 acre. The way we were able to deal with that issue was somehow, it's not something I could speak on radio. That incident opened my eye to what is happening in our food system. So we need to involve the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Livestock Development, and the police themselves. What is happening? The way out, it's still ranching. That's still the way out. And the last Ruga scheme, the former president, Buhari, brought out, it was a very good one. But, it had a little bit of political undertone in it on how they're going to implement it. So I think they should go back to review that scheme and see how it could, solve all these wahala. I'm to use that because it's a big wahala.
I can imagine, Farid. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of this because we will be joining Tolu Lokpe. Hopefully, we'll have this conversation and news updates will spring up that will maybe come up that will enable us to still come back to some of this conversation again so that we can take it up again and then look into it from another critical perspective and see all the ramifications of how these things affect our daily living and our lives. Thank you, Farid, for always being on Agriculture Update.
You're welcome.
Thank you.